Well, I just saw. Wow, I'm kind of a loss for words for what I've just seen. But as I said in my Tucker and Dale versus Evil video, I had another movie that I was going to review or talk about. And this was one that immediately grabbed my attention because I was walking through Walmart and I came across the DVD section, and this movie just kind of popped out in front of me. It was the weirdest thing. Well, pardon me. And it's one of those movies that you look at the title of it and you're thinking, this could not possibly be bad. This could not possibly be a terrible movie. And that movie is Cowboys versus Zombies. Right away, you could not possibly screw this up. Am I right? It's Cowboys versus Zombies. Now, at first I thought this was going to be an Asylum video. And if you don't know who Asylum is, they are probably the largest practitioners of bad movies ever created. And they do it on purpose. Because they are responsible for such movies as Sharknado. A lot of people know what Sharknado is. Like Mega Python versus Super Boa. Or basically anything involving big blockbuster movies, these guys will take it and redo it in such a way that it's almost a parody of the original. Like, there's another movie that I saw with this one right next to it called Independence Disaster. And they spell it like that. D-A-Y Zaster. Like, disaster, disaster. Exact same premise as Independence Day. Aliens come down and attack the planet. But you know what? That's their thing. That's what Asylum does. They make shitty movies. And it's for schlock value, sure. They're worth a good laugh. But as I saw this movie, and I'm looking at the cover of it, and I'm looking at the back of it, and I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a picture of a zombie basically eating like a piece of beef. Not appearing in the movie, by the way. But I'm looking and reading this and saying to myself, this cannot possibly be bad. Okay, you say Cowboys versus Zombies. Right in your head, you're thinking of like the movie version of Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. The Western video game by Rockstar. Great game. Great expansion too, where you fight zombies in the Wild West. You figure you just take Undead Nightmare and make it into a movie. That's Cowboys versus Zombies. This okay. Is this a bad movie? I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. Actually, yeah, I would. Alright. It's not Hollywood done, okay? These are independent movies. They have a budget to go on. I get this. So, I'm not rating special effects or anything like that. I'm going strictly by story, because the greatest movies ever made had no special effects whatsoever. or mostly didn't have special effects, or had a really slow budget. So the first thing you ask yourself with this movie, Cowboys versus Zombies, is there cowboys in it? There is not. As shocking as it is, it's not, because this movie is actually shot after a nuclear war, apparently. So, okay, here's the back cover, the thing. This is what grabs you. Like, civilization has been ravaged by a nuclear war, and the undead have risen to attack what is left of humanity. So, right away, you're thinking there's like these nuclear zombies attacking people, and like they built these huge walls to keep them out. Oh my god. Well, but you know what? First I gotta talk about the trailers. The trailers are even better, because the company that made this, Origin Entertaining, I think it's called, or just Origin, they had, how many? Like 6 trailers for this movie. The first one was called Chariot, which actually didn't look that bad. It had 7 people on an airplane, and as they're flying, they look out their windows and see like nuclear bombs dropping on the cities, and apparently like the government is this big cover-up, and this lady is telling about how like in Roman times or Greek times they would take their most important people if there's a war going on, and they would put them in this chariot and take them off somewhere. So apparently these 7 people are like the last vestiges of humanity. Like, these guys are going to be the creators of humanity, but they're really not. I don't know, it looked really confusing. But it also looked interesting to at least watch. The next one, oh my god. I have got to find this one. The next one, I immediately thought it was like a Lake Placid thing, because it involves a giant crocodile in a water park, and the government is trying to stop it. But the name of it is called Robo Croc. You heard correctly. Robo Croc. It's a Terminator crocodile. I have got to find that movie. That is probably one of the coolest movies ever made. A robotic crocodile. Much like this, when you think of it, you can't screw that up. It's a Terminator crocodile that the government wants to capture. It's amazing. The next one was called The Dragon Warrior, and this looked like a really bad, like, B-movie style fantasy flick, which, again, it's more storytelling to me anymore than a special effect. What grabbed me about it was Jason David Frank, Tommy from the Power Rangers. He's starring in this movie. And since there's martial arts involved with it, and he is a renowned martial artist, should be actually a pretty decent movie. And when I saw the title, The Dragon Warrior, I thought it was going to be like the old Nintendo game, which I think would have been cool. So, I don't know. That's something to look at. Another one was Vampire Nation. I knew it had something to do with vampires whenever they were talking about in the trailer. It's like they developed synthetic blood, and immediately I thought, oh shit, it's True Blood. They're doing a knockoff of True Blood. But it involves like vampire hunters or something like that. I don't know. It's really stock. The other one was called Jetstream, where again the trailer was really misleading and confusing, but I gathered the fact that they somehow managed to harness the ability to control the weather, and the government is using it for whatever, and it gets out of control, and of course bad times happen. I think the guy's like, we created it, which means we can control it. Yeah. Name me one thing in a movie that somebody has created that has ran out of control that they have been able to say, oh, I can fix that. And then the last one is called The Underneath. I guess these people are spelunking in a cave, and some of the shots were like really Blair Witch. kind of thing. You know, the whole follow the camera around and get the close-ups. I don't know. So I'll be on the lookout for something. I definitely want to find Robo Croc. That does sound pretty cool. But back to Cowboys versus Zombies. So looking at the title, like I said, you have to ask yourself, is this a Western? No. Is it a zombie movie? No. It's not even a zombie movie. Because here's the other parts of it. The main character is a guy called, what's his name? Shad they call him. But apparently it's very Ghost Rider. They borrow so many ideas from other movies. It's very Ghost Rider, where his family was killed and he wants to find the people that did it. So he makes a deal with a demon to sell his soul, and the demon eventually leads him to the guys that killed his family. He kills them, and now he is under contract with this demon to become a collector, they call it, where he's essentially a bounty hunter. He gets his orders from this demon and says, okay, I need you to go kill these guys, and of course he does it. And apparently he's been doing this for a long time. But the thing about Cowboys versus Zombies, when you first see the movie, or when the movie first opens up, it looks like a Western. It starts off almost like a Western, but you immediately see something wrong. That everybody that's in this makeshift Western bar or Western town, they're all dressed in modern clothes. You know, so you immediately are saying to yourself, this is not a Western. This is not a Western at all. But they're acting like it is. So here's my question. After a nuclear war, we suddenly revert back to the Wild West? And not just revert back, I mean outfits, I mean riding around on horses, I mean the southern drawl, I mean the barkeep behind the bar serving drinks, I mean the prostitutes walking around trying to get men to solicit sex from them. I'm talking about the guns. Oh my God. It's okay. When the bombs drop, the only thing that's going to be left, according to this movie, are 6-shooters and repeater carbines and tomahawks. That's it. That is the only thing that's going to survive the nuclear wars, are 6-shooters and repeater carbines. And it's... I don't even know what you call this movie. It's such a hodgepodge because... Alright, let's play a game. I want you right now to answer me this question. And I know what your answers are going to be beforehand. So, I want you to tell me how long it takes for the first zombie to show up in this movie. I want you to take just a wild ballpark figure. What time during this movie? This movie is an hour and 40 minutes long. I want you to tell me in that time frame when we see our first zombie. You're wrong. I know what you said. You're already wrong. The time we see our first zombie, 32 minutes. 32 minutes into an hour and 40 long minute movie. We do not see our first zombie until a half hour into this movie. So you will ask yourself, well, what do they do for the first half hour? Funny you should mention that. The first half hour involves a incredibly stock, incredibly basic villain who has essentially taken over this small little western town where everybody has reverted back to the 1820s. You know, he is the stock, stereotypical western ruler of the town. You know, the sheriff is in his pocket. He runs roughshod over everybody. He can do whatever he wants because he's the big scary guy. And there is a completely pointless moment where a guy comes into the bar, and he's even on the back of the case too. You think he's going to be a major player. He's not. But he comes in the bar like, you killed my daughter, and I seek vengeance upon you. And the big fat ruler of the town, he beats the shit out of him. And he says, like, you're not doing nothing. You get out of here. You know what? No, here, we're going to have a gunfight. I'm going to break your hand first, and they're going to put a gun in your hand, and you try and shoot me. And the poor guy ends up getting shot, and I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck was the point of that? But eventually, of course, what's his name? Shadrock, whatever. Who cares what his name is? He's sitting there, and of course, they have to make the badass good guy drinking milk. Everybody's downing whiskey shots and acting tough. This poor guy is sitting in the corner, minding his own business, drinking milk. And, by the way, where did the milk come from? Do they have a cow somewhere? Did the nuclear war didn't get rid of the cows? Is it powdered milk? Someone want to help me out here? If it's powdered milk, how did they make it? Because water would be irradiated. I'd really like to know this, because now I'm starting to think of all these questions. But eventually, the demon who owns Shad's contract shows up, because apparently he has refused to kill the last guy, and the last guy happens to be the asshole who runs the town. So he's like, you have one, just kill this last guy, and I absolutely, positively promise you'll be out of your contract. And of course, Shad's like, yeah, I've heard that before. You just go piss off. I ain't doing this anymore. And then that's finally where the zombies come in, because this demon now controls the dead. He has power to animate the corpses, and this is where you think it would become a zombie movie, and for a little bit it kinda does. They go through the traditional shtick of like the townspeople banding together to fight the zombies. They're shooting them in the head. They're dropping there's some people get eaten, some people don't. One guy gets bitten, and they're like, "Oh my God, what do? We can't just leave him there. We have to help him." And everybody's like, "Nah, fuck him. He's dead. He's doomed." And haven't you seen zombie movies before? No, we haven't. It's the Wild West. I think it's 1864. I honestly don't know what this movie is supposed to be, because the tagline underneath, Cowboys versus Zombies, the Devil's Crossing. So I don't even know why they called this Cowboys versus Zombies. They could have called it anything else, because it has nothing to do with cowboys. They're not cowboys. The zombies aren't even zombies. Honestly, when the zombies are rising up And they're walking down the street. They literally look like they have Parkinson's disease. They're shaking all over the place. They're not even like shambling. I think they're in a music video. I think they have music playing in the background that they dubbed out. Like, all right, just dance with the music and walk towards me. And they're all like, like that. The effects, again, I can't really base it on bad effects, but the zombie effect. How hard is it to create zombie effects? You know, just pale up their skin. But the funniest part is that, again, this is after a nuclear war. And the zombies are being reanimated. My question is, if nuclear bombs dropped tomorrow, even if you're miles away from the blast zone, your clothes would probably disintegrate. I don't know how long it's been since this war happened. They never said. They just mention it in passing. They say, like, well, ever since the Great War, and that's all they say about it. God, what else can I say about this movie? It's very underwhelming. Again, the title would suggest something exciting, something amazing. Yeah. Again, it even goes with Cowboys and Aliens. Because when people heard the movie Cowboys and Aliens, they thought, oh my god, this is going to be... I have to go see this. Just the name alone is enough to get you into that movie theater. And sure enough, we did, and it sucked. I didn't like Cowboys and Aliens at all. I don't know what the hell they were thinking there, but... I guess because even the box art shows a cowboy riding a horse. That's all you would need to do. Just make a western. Make the outlaw Josie Wales with zombies in it. Mission accomplished. There's your movie. I would so love that. I'd love to see Clint Eastwood blowing the shit out of zombies. Pardon me. But so, I mean, the fight scenes are okay. When Shad is fighting the zombies by himself, of course they have to break out a katana because ever since Walking Dead, everybody in every zombie movie now has to have a katana because he's there loading up his guns and there's 4 other people with him. And he's like, do you have anything for like close quarters combat? Like if they get too close, and he's like, yeah, there's a tomahawk over there, but I also have that. And of course, it's this Japanese katana. He pulls it off, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be badass at this. So, yeah, from now on until the end of time, anybody in a zombie movie has to be wielding a sword. Because of Michonne from Walking Dead, because Michonne made it cool. So, yeah, as far as like the fight scenes go with the zombies, it's okay. Even though the zombies are literally in blackface. That's the makeup job right there. They are in blackface. There's no other way to describe it. And there's a lot of missed opportunities here because at one point the sheriff is shooting these zombies and he sees a woman walking or shambling towards him, and he starts flashing back to a picture he had earlier that he burned. It was a picture of him and his wife. Of course, that's his wife, and you think like, oh shit, like he's gonna have this major problem with shooting her. No, he doesn't. He stands there with his gun, he points it, he looks like, oh my god, it's her. And then he's like, fuck it. Bam! Emotional connection gone. Emotional tether severed. It takes him all of 10 seconds to get over that. My wife. Again, there's a missed opportunity right there. Why didn't the demon bring back Shad's wife and child? You know, like how, hey, by the way, here, I dare you to try and shoot them. Of course, with this movie, he probably, boom, like double-handed shots. So, of course, we get the final climactic showdown with the demon and Shad. And, of course, Shad challenges him to, like, a draw contest. Because, after all, this is the Wild West, after all. And, of course, the demon's like, you can't beat me. I own you. And he does, like, the Jedi, or he does, like, force choke or something like that. And Shad drops to his knees. He's like, ah. He's like, I have control over you. I own you. And he lets him up. And Shad shoots him. He says, you're not faster than me. And Shad looks at him and goes, actually, yeah, I am. And he pulls his gun and he shoots him twice in the kneecaps. And the demon's like, this isn't possible. And Shad shoots him and dead. Climax! But I did miss one part. The demon brings out the asshole who ran the town before it because he kept him alive. He's like, "This is your chance. Shoot him now, and I promise I'll leave you alone." And Shad's like, "No, fuck you. I ain't doing it." As he's riding out of town, because after all, the zombies are gone now, apparently. And the evil has been defeated. He rides past the guy on the ground. And he's like, yeah, well, what are you looking at? Stop looking at me, asshole. You get the fuck out of here. This is my town, and blah. Shad ends up shooting him anyway. And, of course, the characters in the movie ask the same question I did. Why? Why? Why go through that shit? The whole point of the movie was you defying the demon. You know, what the fuck? Oh. Why would you do that? That was the whole point. You're defying him by not killing this guy. And he looks at everybody and goes, oh, I didn't do it for him. I did it for me. Because, yeah, I can do that. Which makes the entire movie completely pointless. Because all he had to do was shoot the guy in the first place and the zombies would have been disappeared. This was such a bad movie. It wasn't even one of those enjoyable bad movies like The Room or like Howard the Duck or you know, name me any other awesomely bad movie. This wasn't one. I don't know what this movie was supposed to be. I really think all they needed to do was cut out Cowboys and Zombies and call it The Devil's Crossing. I don't even know what The Devil's Crossing means. What does that mean? I don't... Again, this whole movie sold me on the fact that it was called Cowboys versus Zombies. That's all I expected. I expected zombies, and I was expecting cowboys to be fighting them. You watch any Godzilla movie where he versus something. Pretty much 99.9% of the time, He's going to be fighting what he is saying to fight. Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. He's fighting King Ghidorah. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. He's fighting Mechagodzilla. Cowboys versus zombies. It's about a guy who sold his soul to a devil and decides not to do what he says anymore. So the devil summons zombies to kill him. What else could I possibly say? And I'm not going to say it's a waste of money. This is only $5. It was only $5 at Walmart, so you know what? I only feel gypped about $2.50. So, and I don't know. I could have enjoyed this a little bit more if it at least had zombies in it, you know? Like, actually have these western towns fighting the undead, you know? Even, like, okay, you know what? I'm going to rewrite this movie right now. Right now, I'm going to rewrite Cowboys versus Zombies. Here we go. It's, okay, there's a curse on this town. It's the year 1786 or whatever. Somebody finds a cursed artifact in like an Indian burial ground or something like that, you know, or even better, like the Indian witch doctors or shamans, whatever you want to call them. I've probably alienated the entire Native American population for that. I apologize, but like the Native American shamans, they curse the white man and they say like, if you don't stop pillaging our lands, we're gonna curse you, and the white man's like, fuck you, we don't believe in your paganism bullshit. And the Native Americans are like, alright, we warned you, and they curse them, and they say, from now on, when you die, you will rise up as the undead. You can never die. And for years and years and years and years, the zombies have been rising up. And there couldn't be any kind of technological advances in modern history, so it's now 2013 and we're still in the Wild West. Or just keep it in the Wild West. I don't care, but you know, have the curse be like at nighttime, the zombies rise up. You know, when it's daylight out, they go back underground or something like that. So at least like civilization can flourish for a day, and then at nighttime they have to barricade themselves in, or else the zombies will rise up. And have like a town under siege, and a guy saves them for insert reason here. I just wrote a 10 times better movie than this piece of shit. Because it has what the title says. Cowboys. Zombies. Versus. So, yeah. They got me. They got me on the title. Because I looked at it and I said, there's no way they could fuck this up. There's no way in hell that they could screw this movie up. But they did. So, would I recommend it? I'll let you borrow it if you want. But would I go out and buy it? No. I wouldn't. I'd wait for it to come out on Sci-Fi or something like that. Or the Sci-Fi channel. I don't even know if it was on the Sci-Fi channel. I doubt it. 2014. This is made in 2014. It was made this year. Can you believe it? But hey, you know, as long as there's bad, cheap movies out there, sometimes they're better to see than the shit in Hollywood. I know that for a fact. I peruse those aisles in Walmart quite a lot. And I think deep down everybody likes a good bad movie. They just like to sit around and just watch these. And again, I'm not really ragging on the actors. They can only do as much as they can. The acting was okay. But the premise sucked. Absolutely sucked. Because you expect so much more. And I'll tell you right now, the effects on the zombie on the back of the cover, they probably spent half their budget on that. And he's not appearing in the film at all. It's a bunch of black-faced, Parkinson diseased people walking down the street, shambling down the street. I think one of them was doing the Carlton dance while shaking. He's like, oh, yeah, like that. So, anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Hope you enjoyed my shambling zombie impressions. I won't do it again, I swear. But yeah. Be careful what you buy. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So if you see a movie called Cowboys versus Zombies, stay away from it. Now, if they make a movie called Ninja versus Giant Robot, I'll buy that. In fact, that's probably going to be my topic for the next RABS. So stay tuned for that. Until then, I will see you next time. I gotta drink something because I gotta get this out of my head. So, see you later.